Pipe down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday. What is it? I guess be Christmas Eve when you hear this. So happy Christmas Eve. I don't know what you guys do, but it is December 23rd, and if you've ever watched the show Seinfeld, you know that it is Festivus. If you are in the libertarian scene at all, you should know this very well because Rand Paul, one of the leading kind of figures, does an annual Festivus tweet storm in which he calls out all the wasted money that the government spends every year. And it's a really funny. I actually just watched the Festivus episode before I started recording here, and I don't know if you guys aren't Seinfeld fans. I don't know what to tell you because it's one of the greatest comedies of all time. So if you don't enjoy that, probably not going to have a whole lot in common to talk about. I'll probably still try, but anyhow, if you don't know the Festivus for the rest of us, I would suggest go finding, what was it? It's Seinfeld, and I know this because I had to look it up so I could watch it right beforehand, but it's Seinfeld Season 9, Episode 10, and it's a very, very funny episode of a sitcom. Anyhow, the premise behind it is it's a it's a show with a bunch of Jewish folks marketed out to the United States of America, which for the most part is a Christian country. So it's kind of a slap in the face to both of them. And a kind of area about how commercialized both holidays have become, in so much to the point that neither one of these holidays anymore have anything to do with what they were originally meant for. So now it's just buy your kid the hottest toy of the season, or buy your husband or your wife the most spendiest item you can think of to try to one-up them, like your wife got you a set of Spurs. Well, fuck that. I'm getting her a diamond ring. Yeah. And at the same time, whether it be Hanukkah, I actually don't know exactly what they celebrate on the Hanukkah, but it's obviously a very well regarded, like that's one of the big traditions in the Jewish faith. And then Christmas in the Christian faith, I mean, it's the birth of the reason for our religion. And what do? We buy a bunch of shit. And so the whole basis of Festivus is to make a statement against the commercialism and whatnot of Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Christmas. And it goes back to the bare bones of everything. It starts out with an aluminum pole, much like a stripper pole, instead of a Christmas tree, because it's there's nothing to it. It's lightweight and it's strong, and you don't have to decorate it. Starts off with a meal, just like every other holiday. There's a feast, and I don't know of the exact origins of Festivus, but in the Seinfeld version, they just bring out a meal. Looks like it's beef, and so without any contrary evidence to it not being beef, I'd say for Festivus, every December 23rd, you should eat beef. I don't care if it's grass-fed. I don't care if it's grain-fed. I don't care if it's all natural. I don't care if it's commercial. I don't care if your Mexican neighbor sold his goat to you and told you it was beef. If he said it's beef, and on Festivus, you should eat beef. That Asian guy down the road who has an abundance of cats and sells you a little flank steak, that is beef. Every time. Okay? Just so we're clear. And but that's about all that needs to be said as far as the meal of Festivus. Eat beef, and you'll be fine. Buddha will love you. Jesus will love you. Allah might love you. Yahweh is the same as Jesus, so he loves you. The natives, you'll have to ask them on that. I don't know. Anyhow, I bet you they'll like him better than if you hadn't done what I just said. But anyhow, the next, after the meal, is the airing of grievances. And this is the most American thing I can think of. The First Amendment of the Constitution. Number 1, the right to free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and freedom of assembly. So number 1, the very first amendment of our Constitution. That is the foundation of the airing of grievances. So, number 1, and I'm starting off in chronological order. I'm not going to stay in chronological order because I was writing this as I went. But I started with the very start of 2021. January 6th. I know there was 5 days before that, but I don't think, or at least I couldn't think of anything exciting really that happened, noteworthy. But January 6th, that was when the House and the Senate voted on the Electoral College, whether or not to certify. Giant rally in Washington, D.C. Over 1 million people, from what I hear, attended that, and about 300 to 400 people stormed the U.S. Capitol building. My grievance as a diehard small government, individual liberty, constitutional conservative, libertarian, whatever you want to call me. The one time you decide that this is too much, it is too much, too many constitutional rights, too many God-given rights were taken on January 6th. And by that you mean Congress voted to certify elects that each of the 50 states in the United States of America, in their legislatures, voted to send to Washington, D.C. you stormed the Capitol building, and not only did you storm the Capitol building, but you did so much more damage. I mean, you really stuck it to the man. You delayed the certifying of the electoral votes of Joe Biden by like 3 hours. Like, you bought us so much time in which they regrouped and voted to go ahead and elect Joe Biden as president of the United States. You stormed the Capitol and gained nothing. Were there some agent provocateurs, some instigators that told you, yeah, go ahead and storm that Capitol? Yeah, I almost guarantee you there were some whether they're FBI or CIA or whatever federal agency they worked for. I almost guarantee you there were some provocateurs. Yeah, go ahead and storm through that door. Get in there. Get into the Capitol and let your voice be heard. Let them know that you're not going to take it. And you know what? Guess what? You took the bait. You went ahead and stormed the fucking U.S. Capitol building of the United States, the Capitol building of the United States of America, home to the most dominant military force in the world. And you went ahead and stormed through that building, thinking that Donald Trump was going to be just like instated as president, even though the election results said otherwise. Because you're going to stop fascism by overturning what the declared results of a popular election said. If there is a grievance for the conservative wing of America, if you're going to storm the Capitol, make sure it's worthwhile. Make sure it's worthwhile, and once it's done, what did you accomplish? There was not one single politician that got tarred and feathered. Not a single one that got their ass kicked right out of town. And I mean, by their ass kicked, I mean got kicked literally in the ass all the way out of town, which is what they used to do. Either tar and feather or kick them in the ass until they left town. Not a single politician had either of that happen to them. And now you've got the QAnon shaman, the guy with the Viking helmet, who is facing something like 4 or 5 years in federal prison. Not jail, not county jail, federal prison. 4 to 5 years. Because some guy said, yeah, let's storm the Capitol. And you said, fuck yeah, that sounds like a great idea. You know, you're protesting about the amount of damage and shady shit that the federal government can do to you during an election when you're not doing anything even viewed in any way as illegal. You're casting your vote and you're saying they did some shady shit there. And now you're going to enter the Capitol building on the same day that they're certifying the electoral votes. And you don't think they're going to throw the fucking book at you? Well, hey folks, I hate to interrupt the show. I know it's a good one, but I've got some people that help me keep this whole thing going every week. So I got to tell you about them. And first and foremost, we got Tracy Morrison. They're out of Chelsea, Oklahoma. He is building all sorts of cool custom silver work, buckles, bits, spurs, conchos, candle plates, gun engraving. Does it all. It's really cool stuff. He's a former working cowboy himself, loves the lifestyle, loves the craft, and so he's building cool shit for the working cowboy, and it's priced for the working cowboy. You can find him over on Instagram, excuse me, or Facebook. Tracy Morrison Custom Silver. That's TRACIE Morrison, or at T Morrison _ custom silver. Just check him out. Just put his name in, TRACIE Morrison, and you'll find him wherever you find him at there on Facebook or Instagram. And he's a good guy. Check him out. Next up, we've got Scott Hall and Hall's Rocky Mountain Jewelry. And Scott's a friend of the show. You guys know him, you love him. He's a former cowboy himself, and he is a master jeweler, goldsmith, silversmith, repoussé, which is stone cutting and setting, like the turquoise you see here on the screen that he made for my wife. He cut and set that. It's all good stuff. He does all the cowboy stuff, and he's just a really excellent artist. Also does pen and ink art, and he does all sorts of cool stuff. Buckles. He's gonna be working into some bits. He's working on some other stuff first, but man, if you need some silver work done, Scott's where it's at. So check him out over on Facebook and Instagram. He is Scott Jason Hall, or Hall's Rocky Mountain Jewelry, and then him and his wife have they've got their Instagram account, and that is at Cow Camp Life. So go check them out. Let them know you saw it on Burnin Daylight. And next up, we've got Brittany Hesseltine and SquareTop Leather and Design. She is out of Wyoming right now, and she's building all the cool leather stuff. Chinks, leggings, chaps, shotguns, bat wings, armitas, all that stuff. She does it. Headstalls, purses. She's making purses for all you ladies. So guys, if you need something to get your significant other, you might check her out. And she does really good work. She's a friend of the show. She's been on the show, and she's a cool gal. So go check her out. That is SquareTop Leather and Design on Facebook and Instagram. Go check her out. And next up, we've got Cardomax.com. Cardomax is the best supplements out there. Owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Madsen. Cardomax.com. They're all natural ingredients in their supplements. They've got energy intensifier. They've got a Hydromax, or the hydration formula. They got an immunity booster, which is really good. I like that stuff, as well as the hydration. They got a recovery and some sample packs and a bunch of different flavors. It's all good stuff. I drink the hydration stuff and the immunity booster every day. It's really good. So and it's all veteran owned. They're giving back to the community. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. So go check them out. Cardomax.com. Use my promo code MOVEYERASS, move your ass, and you'll get 10% off your order. And it's a good company. I drink this stuff every day. I truly do. So next up, we got greensreserve.com. This Greens Reserve is an all natural tobacco alternative. It's made from hemp, no THC, no nicotine. I don't know about the CBD. I would assume there's probably something in there, but got 3 flavors, wintergreen, natural, and menthol. Got long cut, fine cut, and if you use my promo code MattGR, you'll get $1 off a can or $5 off a roll. It's a good deal. Stuff tastes really good. The natural is kind of like a straight flavoring, so I really like it. And I still chew tobacco, but I use it for to help focus and stuff. And so like when I'm doing research, I chew Greene's Reserve. It's good stuff. Greensreserve.com. That's GREENES.com or GREENES reserve.com/shop. Use my promo code MattGR and you'll get $1 off a can or a $5 off a roll. So go check that out. And then if you don't like to hear ads and you just want to get right to the bullshit that I put out, you can head over to patreon.com/Burnin Daylight and you can subscribe there. I got a bunch of different levels. It's we got anywhere from $1 to $100 a month, and there's different perks along the way. And you help me do some cool stuff. So if you'd like to subscribe, like I said, you get ad-free content, you get some bonus content, and you get the episodes earlier than everybody else. So head over to patreon.com/Burnin Daylight, and you can sign up there, and I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks to all the sponsors who helped me out, and let's go ahead and get into the show, shall we? So thanks. And at the same time, not a single one of those politicians was tarred or feathered or kicked in the ass all the way out of the room. The whole January 6th situation, QAnon shaman, the Boogaloo Boys, who have been waiting for a civil war to pop off at any given point, and you went in and you got played by a bunch of feds. January 6th was a disappointment, which leads into my next one: impeachment. The Democrats. This was the second impeachment, and it was even more of a Hail Mary than the first time. And I called that one. I said, but I was a little bit off. I said Donald Trump was going to get reelected, and then that the Republicans would join up and help impeach him. But instead, he got impeached after he was out of office. And there was no civil war that came above it. There really wasn't a whole lot going on. Like Liz Cheney kind of got excommunicated from the Republican Party. Adam Kinzinger a little bit, maybe. But outside of that, not much happened. Not much happened from the impeachment. And yeah, that's a disappointment. Like if we're gonna have an impeachment, like let's make it worthwhile. Next up, vaccines. Before the pandemic, to end all pandemics, or to begin all pandemics. I'm not really for sure what the exact I'm not sure how to phrase that, but either way, vaccines before the COVID hit. there was kind of a big outcry of anti-vaxxers, people who just refuse to give their kids vaccines. And I know several of those people. I'm related to several of those people. And no, I'm not one of those people. But I understand where they're coming from. And that was a big concern before COVID hit. COVID hit. And we found out about this new vaccine technology, mRNA vaccine, which I don't know enough about it. So in order to stop my account from being completely banned, I'm not a virologist. I'm not an immunologist. I don't know what really goes into making a vaccine. But what I do know, that this mRNA technology is completely different from what your traditional either modified live or killed vaccine entails. It's a completely different setup. And from what I understand, if it works like it's being advertised, which I think you can safely say it's not working as it was advertised, but the fact that you basically have a buffer solution, and you can take the mRNA out of a virus and just plug it into this solution that you already have, and supposedly it works perfectly. Let's just play along with it, because I think it's really important. Like, if you have this, this mode of carrying whatever they call this this vaccine, but like you just plug in certain parts of it, mRNA, and that just protects you against certain diseases. Like, that's a fucking fascinating technology, like groundbreaking technology. And does it work? I don't know. Should we have rolled it out as soon as we did? I also don't know. And you know who else doesn't know? Fucking everybody except those people that developed it. Because there's no transparency. So the fact that this could be one of the most groundbreaking technological advances of not just this lifetime, but probably several lifetimes, if this shit works how it's advertised, like this is a really groundbreaking technology. And does anybody outside of the left wing view it as that? No, they don't, because of the fucking media. And you know what? I'm also disappointed in people in general, because they're not viewing vaccines like they used to. There was always some sort of either crazy people or people who had experienced some really just horrific side effects from vaccines. Does that mean they're crazy people? Absolutely not. But does that mean their story is a normal story? Also, absolutely not. And but there used to be kind of a somewhat clear-cut conversation about that. Not so much anymore. So, that's a grievance. That what could be one of the most groundbreaking scientific achievements of not just our lifetime, but possibly many lifetimes to come, is just completely overshadowed by politics. Next up in the grievances list is meat packers. The U.S. meat packing industry has sold their soul to overseas interests, whether it be Brazil, China, the EU, Russia, whatever. We have 2 of the 4 big meat processing plants or companies that are owned by Brazil. Marfrig International, which owns National Beef, and JBS Swift, owned by JBS out of Brazil. We have one of the worst droughts in our lifetime in the western U.S. going on. We have some of the biggest concentration of players in the beef industry, whether it be in the feeding industry or the packing industry. We have the Packers and Stockers Act of I believe it was like 1920 something, still in effect, still not being enforced, and you have the packing industry making something like $300 a head, while you have normal ranchers and stockers and smaller size feeders losing money hand over fist. And all the while, the packing industry is making money hand over fist. The retail price of beef at the counter has gone up and up and up, and that's no coincidence. More and more independent ranchers are going out of business, while the big packers are making more money every single day. And I guess I'm not gonna advocate for a government solution to that. But at the end of the day, all these packers need to know that the people that are supplying them with beef have got to make it work, or at some point there's no beef to be supplied to them. And whether that actually happens, I don't know. But it's a big grievance for me against the packing industry. But also, on that same exact note, I gotta air my grievances with the American cattle producer. You bitch, and you don't even try to do anything different. You still sell your cattle on the same video auction, or you take them to the same sale barn. And if they don't bring the price that you want them to, well, you go ahead and collect that check and you bitch about it on the way home. And then you start preparing to do the exact same thing the next year. And when somebody tells you that maybe you should feed out a few of your beefs and sell them on the local level, you say, well, fuck, I can't change my entire industry to do that. And at the same time, the guy that's telling you, namely me, never once told you to change your entire industry. But hey, think about keeping a few beefs back, because maybe somebody local will want to buy directly from you. And guess what? After this pandemic happened, a whole bunch of people decided, like, hey, there's no fucking meat in the cases at the store. I need to find some. And guess what? The rancher's been there the whole time, but now they got an audience. And now all of a sudden, they start selling a little bit of beef on their own. And what do? They still ask the government to crack down on the packers instead of opening up that industry. And instead of saying, hey, why don't we make it easier for this local packing plant here to be able to sell beef commercially, and go and source this beef and sell it commercially. No, let's tell the big packers that they have to do this and do that, and let's just like completely ignore the fact that the people that'll be enforcing these big packers doing this and that are also feeding out of the same trough, getting the same kickbacks as these big packers are. So why in the hell would they enforce it? Yeah. I really wish the independent cattle producer, the rancher, the stocker, whatever, I wish they would spend just half as much time promoting their own product. And I'm not talking about the industry as a whole. Promote your cattle or your beef half as much as you bitch about the Packers and see where that gets you. Try that for 6 months and tell me where you're at. Try half as hard marketing your product as you do bitching about the Packers and see where we're at. National Football League. I got a big grievance against you. You're supposed to be the toughest league out there. The biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the hardest hitting, just the biggest baddest motherfuckers of all time. And you've turned it into just a bitch sport. The defensive guys, you've got the best defensive guys ever. The hardest hits. And you're paying these guys well enough. And you know at this point, NFL, you know the risks of CTE, chronic and chronic traumatic encephalopathy. The concussion disease. They know about it. No way they don't know about it anymore. But instead of just saying like, hey, this is what the sport is, and when you come play here, you understand the risk. No, let's tone it down, and then let's put a bunch of politically correct slogans on the sideline, and you guys you have the best athletes on earth, and you make your sport really fucking hard to watch. And I don't even know what else to say about that. Just do better. Do better. Next up, Kyle Rittenhouse. You're turning into the David Hogg of the gun owners. He's 18. I understand you just beat a giant case, which you should have. 100% justified in the shooting. I don't want to hear from you. Most of the country doesn't want to hear from you, and the people that do act like they want to hear from you and that they want you on their shows, they're trying to make money from you. Would I like to hear what you have to say? Yeah, I would. I wouldn't mind visiting with you. But also, you need to go away. Like the world doesn't need to hear about Kyle Rittenhouse right now. Like we heard about it for a fucking year and a half. We heard about it a lot. It put the country at each other's throats. And you dodged a real fucking big bullet, buddy. A real big bullet. So why don't you just sit this one out? Just lay low for a little bit and let everybody calm down. Like honestly, I've seen like 5 or 6 different podcasts this guy's on, and whatever. He's an 18-year-old kid, but it's exactly what I said before. Like you're and I'll get in. Well, no, I'll just skip a few. We'll come back to the rest of these. But conservatives, you don't have to glom on to anybody who gets some limelight that agrees with you. Was this kid justified in shooting those people? He absolutely was. Do you have to make that like your calling card? No. Like you should say, hey, this kid defended himself rightfully. But you also don't have to make him a hero of your movement, because he's not. He's a 18-year-old kid from Kenosha, Wisconsin. I don't know what the fuck the circumstances that led him to that, but like he's not marching against the government. You know, he's running for his life, and just because he's justified doesn't mean you got to make him a hero. And so conservatives, like, stop glomming onto these kids. Like I said on the last episode, where that kid president guy that everybody was playing all over the place, and then he turned 13 and decided he was a socialist, and then you just like ignore that. Well, maybe shouldn't have been promoting a fucking 10-year-old in the first place. Maybe your politicians should step their game up so that you're talking about your politicians and not a fucking 10-year-old. Same way here. Maybe you should start finding more articulate voices that to defend the Second Amendment, instead of propping up an 18-year-old kid who just went through the worst experience of his life, and probably a worse experience than 99.9% of the rest of the world went through. And whether he was justified or not, whether he was right or wrong about being there, is very much in debate, or up for debate. And this kid's 18. Like, maybe just not make him a hero. You don't know. And Rittenhouse, like, not that he's listening to this, but man, he needs some better people around him, because, yeah, like I said, David Hogg of the the 2A community. Next up, grievance, feminists. You guys are the worst. You ladies are the worst. I thought the feminists were the ones that stood up to men and said that, like, hey, no, we're just as good as you guys are, until we get a set of fake tits and lop our dick off and put on a wig, and then we beat the shit out of you guys because we're men and we're just awesome. So step up your game, feminists. And women, well, you could try to step up your game, but I mean, when you're going with you're going up against those trans athletes, let's face it, you're dealing with a dude, and you got no shot. So I guess women step it up too. Non-binary people. Non-binary people are the worst. You're not committing to anything. You're just saying, I'm different. I'm different. A gay guy, at some point, has to do some gay shit if he's going to be a true gay guy. He's got to do some gay stuff. Non-binary just says, I don't think I'm straight today. I don't even know if I'm a guy today. And it's like, I'm non-binary. And you don't have to do anything. It's bullshit. So, yeah, that's my grief with non-binary. You're not real. You're not real. Liberals. Oh, let's see. I did cattle producer. I did NFL. Oh, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. My gripe with you. Do I think you incited a riot or an insurrection? No, there was no insurrection. There was a bunch of idiots that stormed the Capitol. And Donald Trump, instead of calling it off immediately, which you could have done, you've got Secret Service in your ear, and they've got eyes on everywhere. That is their job, to have eyes on everywhere, because they're protecting your stupid fat ass. And the fact that you supposedly didn't know that the Capitol was being breached, and you waited for quite a while before you said go home. But you didn't just say go home. You said, even though they stole the election from us, go home anyways. Now, do I think you should be charged criminally for inciting a riot? No, I don't. But did you do anything to slow it down or stop it? Not until it was way too late. So, you also filed something about like 36 lawsuits in different states over the results of the election. You campaigned against the lockdowns. You campaigned against the mask mandates. And yet, you didn't file a single lawsuit against the state government over the mask mandates or the vaccines or the lockdowns or any of those. Not one single lawsuit against these states over that. But almost 36 lawsuits against the states for election fraud. The election technically affected Donald Trump. The lockdowns, the mask mandates, and the vaccine mandates, that affects the entire country. All of America, who Donald Trump says he puts first. But not one lawsuit trying to free up America. But dozens of lawsuits that got thrown out systematically for lack of evidence or lack of case over this election. And I don't think they were all thrown out legitimately, but he didn't even have a chance to have an argument thrown out over these lockdowns or the mask mandates because he didn't even fucking try. And that shows where he's at. So, man, there you go. That's my grievance against you, Donald Trump. All right, so liberals and conservatives both, and libertarians. I got grievances with you all, and you're gonna hear about them. Liberals, you're too pussy. You're not standing up to the hardcore left wingers at all, and you're still sucking the dick of the establishment Democrats. So. Do better. Conservatives, you still don't have a sense of humor for the most part. And you still are latching on to the old school Republican Party like George W. and Mitt Romney. And they've fucked you over every single time. The biggest problems that have happened in my lifetime, and probably anybody who was born after, say, 1975, the biggest problems that have happened in America have all happened under Republicans. And yet, conservatives still vote for them. Not saying that you should vote for Democrats, because I know a lot of you people can't think more beyond two choices. But the fact that you just keep doing the same old thing it's astounding. Libertarians, do better. You're not winning a whole lot of your average people with just an average conversation because you get too fucking into the weeds and throw out a bunch of terms that nobody's familiar with instead of just explaining where you're coming from. And Rand Paul also holds himself up to be, well, and maybe he doesn't hold himself up, but he definitely knows that he's viewed as one of the figureheads of the Libertarian Party, the Libertarian community. And you got lit up on Twitter this week, and rightfully you deserved it. State of Kentucky got ravaged by tornadoes, did a ton of damage, and Rand Paul asked for federal assistance, which he should have done as a senator. However, several times in the past, he has voted and been outspokenly voted against relief bills, whether it be for a hurricane or a tornado or a fire or whatever. Yeah, and I forget where I was going with that, but anyhow, Rand Paul. Oh yeah. So Rand Paul has actively and openly voted against relief bills for other stuff. Now he's asking for relief from the federal government for the state of Kentucky. That's a natural process, but you should also expect to get lit the fuck up because you're Mr. Libertarian. Other grievances. Dave Chappelle. You leaned into the whole transphobic deal. You didn't have to. You could have moved on with your life, but yet you chose to go for those clicks. I'm sure you made a ton of money. And then also, you kept yourself relevant for at least 2 months after you released that because people are calling you transphobic, so I don't fault you for it, but still kind of a bitch move. Joe Rogan. One of the best podcasts out there, obviously. Numbers show it. I really like that you're into hunting. I also really, really wish that you would realize that the hunting that you do is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Every single hunt that you go on is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me and just about everybody else that hunts. We've been hunting for a long time, and it would take us our entire lifetime to go do that hunt that you get to do every year. I don't hold it against you that you have the money to make all that shit happen. However, the way you talk about hunting, how everybody should get into it, just remember, we don't have that access. Even rich people don't have that access. You are very, very fortunate. Act like you are. Also, don't be afraid to bitch slap somebody like Sanjay Gupta for talking a bunch of bullshit. I know you say you like him, but a little crack across the face would have been pretty good. Next up, Supreme Court. They've done okay. The judicial system as a whole here this year has done a fairly decent job. However, I still got to point out the fact that it took the Supreme Court 3 different times to vote in favor of the First Amendment as far as religious freedom. And even on the 3rd time that they voted for it, when it did pass, it still only passed 5-4. And it is truly stunning to me that 4 different Supreme Court justices who took an oath to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you're also a Supreme Court justice. Your literal job is to interpret the law down to the finest detail and make a decision. And yet the fact that the First Amendment, the very First Amendment to the Constitution, which allows the free exercise of religion and bars the establishment of an official religion, also provides for the freedom of speech and the freedom to peaceably assemble. And 4 of the Supreme Court justices voted in favor of the state being allowed to shut down churches because of a global pandemic, which seems like a very blatant violation of the free exercise of religion. But yet, still, almost half of you fuckers still voted basically to say that the First Amendment means nothing. So, kind of to wrap it up here, Cowboy Poetry Gathering in Elko, Nevada. You're right at the top of my my Festivus list, my personal Festivus list that I put together. January 28th, 29th will be at the Stage Door in Elko. The same weekend that Cowboy Poetry was supposed to be happening, but the Western Folklife Center once again caved to the mandates of Governor Steve Sisolak, and they canceled the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. I guess they're still going to try to do some live shows. Either way, it's the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. Like, cowboys that started this, guys like Waddy Mitchell, left cow camp, lion camp, came to Elko for a little bit of a break to write to recite their poem. And back then, when Waddy was just coming up, like, polio was a real deal, like a real disease. And they still made it happen. Like, they started the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering, and now because of a average to severe case of the flu blows through, and we got to shut down everything. You were open for 36 years, and then a little virus shuts you down for 2 years in a row. Dust off your hat, get back on that fucking horse, Western Folklife Center. Like, if you're gonna claim to be cowboy, make a little effort at proving it, because you haven't done shit yet. So, but anyway, we'll be at the Stage Door. Outside Circle is, from last I hear, is still gonna do their thing at the Star Hotel. Come to Elko, have a good time. Long story short. And my last grievance, in general, is just America. Stop being such a bitch. We've allowed all this bullshit to happen, allowed it under our watch, or on our watch, and have done very little to stop it. So stop letting it happen. Be Americans. Stop being pussies. Moving on. Next segment of Festivus is the Feats of Strength, and I've got a few here too. So, starting back over at the beginning, going right back to January 6th, the QAnon shaman, the guy with the Viking helmet. Shit, dude, you were right down there at Pelosi's desk or at her podium. You kind of owned the January 6th riot, and you came out of nowhere wearing a fucking Viking helmet with no shirt. Like, you gotta respect that. So, as far as feats of strength go, that's pretty good. That's not going to turn out well for you, but as far as that point in time, fucking nailed it. Next up, Donald J. Trump. You almost convinced a whole bunch of people to kind of overthrow the government. Was that actually his intentions? I don't think so. But kinda is what actually happened. I don't think there was ever any real chance of that happening, but man, if you believe the official narrative, they did go ahead and breach the Capitol. Somebody let him in. I don't know. The establishment. It's a big flex. You got Joe Biden into office. That guy can't finish a sentence. As far as I know, hasn't finished a sentence since he's been in office. But you got him in office, so that's a pretty big swinging dick move. Next up, Dr. Anthony Fauci. It's a pretty big feat of strength. It looks like you sidestepped federal regulation that barred the funding of gain-of-function research. You took it upon yourself to go ahead and reroute that chain of command and still send the funding to the Wuhan level 4 biomedical bioweapons laboratory there in Wuhan. That not only Fauci, but you, myself, your parents, anybody who has ever paid U.S. federal taxes in their life, paid for that to happen. So, yeah, but I mean, guess good on you, Fauci. You've it's a feat of strength that you're still holding a job. He's the highest paid federal employee at something like $500,000 a year, and he has not been fired by either administration. So I guess good on you, Anthony Fauci. The judicial system. They got a few right here lately. Big win on the Kyle Rittenhouse. The George Floyd one. That was really poorly handled by the judge. I don't really blame any of the jury members that were possibly swayed, whether they were or not. If they were swayed, I get it. That was a failure of the city, the judge, all of that. But the guy that got shot down in Georgia, the two people that shot him and the guy that filmed it all got life in prison. The guy from Colorado what did he do? Kill 4 people in a wreck. His brakes went out, crashed into a busy intersection. They just gave him 110 years. 110 years for essentially the biggest crime was voluntary or involuntary manslaughter, but there was like a mandatory minimum or something. 110 years in prison though, not just county jail, but federal prison. So yeah, I don't know how that worked, but next up, Feats of Strength. This is a 2-part. Joe Biden, President of the goddamn United States of America, shit his pants in front of the Pope. And then a week later, mid-conversation, ripped a full-on cheek-clapping beefer mid-conversation with the Duchess of Cornwall. I don't know where Cornwall is. I don't know exactly what a duchess is. She sounds like maybe I should know who she is, but I don't. And that's what it is. But the fact that Joe Biden, mid-sentence, just went ahead and just just let loose just a in front of British royalty, I stand by it. I've said it. I know I've said it a couple times, but I stand by it. That is possibly the most American thing of all time. Next up, UFC Dana White. Obviously a feat of strength because you run a fighting league, but for a while you were the only live sport available was UFC, and Dana White and that whole organization just did whatever they could to make it happen. So kudos to them. Cheers to that. Next up, Pat McAfee Show. Started out as a punter for the Indianapolis Colts. First time I heard this guy was on the Bob and Tom Show. And he was interning, still trying to get his college degree, which he never got because he realized it was worthless. And but he did intern with Bob and Tom, who is one of the probably the best comedy radio shows of all time. And they had plenty of comedians on and helped start their career, whatever. And that was the first time I heard Pat McAfee is interning for Bob and Tom. Then I started watching him play football, and well, let's be honest, nobody pays attention to the punt, and the only time anybody pays attention to the kick is when the field goal kick is when the game is on the line. So cool as it is that you made the NFL, it's even better that you have a sports show that you can talk to the real football players. And but the biggest thing I wanted to point out is this guy made what's been reported. I don't think he's announced what they actually made, but sources, air quotes there, sources say he's making or will be making something like $30 million a year for 3 years, and there's an opt-out clause after 3. But regardless, minimum $90 million, and that's all from one sports book. Just saying, like, hey, don't bet anywhere else. If you're gonna bet, use our sports book. $30 million a year. That's insane. Good for you, Pat McAfee. He's a blue collar kid from Pittsburgh, and I hope that translates to some of the shit that we're doing here. And I think it might, but I'll kind of keep that mum for now. Next up, Feats of Strength, the Wright family of rodeo folks. They're just really, really fucking good. I find it hard to root for them because they're too nice. But man, they're fun to root against, and you still know they're probably gonna win the round. So hats off to the Wright boys. Next up, I'll save that for kind of last. But next up, we got Sturgill Simpson. Sturgill Simpson is a flaming left-wing, lefty kind of guy. But man, he puts out some of the best music out there, and he put out 2 bluegrass albums covering songs that he's already done, and then his latest album was just absolutely phenomenal. So much so that the song Sam, which talks about a hound dog that died too soon, and it's all done a cappella in harmony. My kids know at least the melody and the high part of that song, but either way, like, Sturgill Simpson's a badass, and he put out some really, really good music this year, and the world is better off for it. Next up, Braun Brothers reunion. I guess they canceled not this past year, but the year before. this was the first year I've been there, and it was just awesome. Like one of the best experiences I've had. It's a full on music festival, but it's also very, very family friendly, and like I was able to hang out and watch music with my two young nieces, and not worry about somebody getting high right next to us. Also, the vapes have really helped with that, so that's handy. But that festival that they put on up there is really top notch, and the fact that they were one of the few festivals that went on this summer was also saying something. So hats off to them. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My wife thoroughly enjoyed it, and my sister-in-law really did too. And we're planning on going back this year as well. So hats off to the Braun family. Next up, which honestly could have been the final topic of the year, but I'm gonna hold off. But Turnpike Troubadours are back. They've been announced. They're putting on their first show in, I think it's over 2 years. Will be May 14th at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Denver, Colorado, and I forget exactly what town it is, but outside of Denver, Red Rocks Amphitheater. Everybody knows where Red Rocks is or has heard about it, and freaking Turnpike's back together. So this might be the thing that we needed to get us out of this funk. If you'll notice, when shit really started going south was right about the time when Turnpike split up, and I just can't see how this is going to be a bad thing that Turnpike is back together. So good on you. Good on you. And then to kind of round it out, cattle producers, ranchers, everything. I talked a little bit of shit about you before, but you guys have really poured it on, and made a really good showing. Tons of people have started selling beef directly to their neighbors and whatnot, and I truly think that's the best and the easiest way to kind of break this monopoly from the Packers is take matters into your own hand. You don't have to do your whole herd that way. Obviously, I don't think anybody's asking that, but you can do a couple here and there, and that a couple here and there might turn into 10 or 20 here and there, which might turn into a whole lot more. And the fact that folks that you know and love now know that they can get beef directly from you, that's a good thing. And hats off to all the producers who have taken advantage of that. And then just to end it, I got to say a big feat of strength is this whole show and the community behind it. Man, I can't thank y'all enough. Like, you guys have been just the best fucking audience ever. You guys, even people who haven't been around for the whole time, like there's just random new people that pop in here and there, and they get what we're trying to do, and just I talk to most of you guys, if not everybody. I try to talk to everybody. If I don't hit you, don't take it the wrong way. But man, I honestly can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and just keeping this whole shit wagon going. It's really, really cool. And it's all possible because you guys keep tuning in. So I can't thank you enough. And moving forward in 2021, I think it's safe enough to say right now that, like, we got some really cool shit. And I posted photos of my notes here earlier. But as you'll see right down here, I got Mackenzie Johnston as a feat of strength here. Mackenzie's gonna start doing. She already does her market report, and it's fantastic. I really enjoy what she does, and now she's gonna be doing it on the Burnin Daylight podcast. So Monday through Friday, starting in January, we're gonna have a market report every morning, or I'm not sure what time she's gonna post. Doesn't matter, but every day of the week you're gonna have a market report from Mackenzie Johnston. She's also gonna help out with Fence Post Politics along. Well, she has a chair at every Fence Post Politics if she wants it. But also, she's really good at finding what's going on the ag side of things, and we're going to do a Fence Post Politics with her taking the lead, telling us what the hell we need to pay attention to as far as what's going on the ag end of things. So I'm really excited from that, and she has free reign to interview people and do podcasts of her own. And you'll hear them on the Burnin Daylight podcast. So I can't tell you guys how excited I am about that. Like she's really good at what she does, and she's not gonna really be doing anything different. The only thing different is it's gonna be on our podcast feed. So please welcome Mackenzie to the team, and show her the respect she deserves, because she does really good stuff. And man, I can't wait. And then I mentioned it earlier, but the other big feat of strength that I got to point out is everybody who came to Elko in January. With National Cowboy Poetry Gathering didn't happen except for at the Stage Door in Elko. When we put on a show, we're going to be doing another one, or another two shows, January 28th and 29th at the Stage Door. I don't know what they're trying to do with cowboy poetry, but we're still going to be there. Outside Circle is still going to be putting their show on at the Star, and we're going to try to do some other stuff. We gotta wait till we get Rachel Wilson back on the show. She's really took the lead at trying to organize some stuff just to keep cowboy poetry going, because it's just a cool event. And so if you're anywhere around Elko the last week of January, try to make it into the Stage Door the 28th and 29th. I think it's a $10 cover. I'll let you know for sure what we got going on there, but I think they're planning on a $10 cover, and we're either going to be starting at 7 or 8. It's either 7 to 9 or 8 to 10. Either way, it's going to be a good show. The Wampus Wilsons are going to be there. Sam McHugh, possibly a few others. We don't know for sure yet, but it's going to be a good show, and I can't wait. And I can't wait to see what 2022 has in store. I can't wait to see what Mackenzie Johnston is going to bring to the table. And please welcome her with open arms. I really can't wait to see. I've seen what she's done in the past, and I'm just really I'm pretty stoked that she's going to be doing her show on Burnin Daylight. So please welcome her and give her all the best wishes. And thank you guys so much for continuing to tune into this little shit show that we've put together here. So thanks a bunch. Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus, and Happy New Year. We'll be back. We'll have 3 episodes next week. Keep tuning in. We're going to break a record, and pretty soon we're gonna hopefully we're gonna be able to make some money off this thing where this is what we do full time. So anyway, that's the plan. Thank you guys so much for supporting us, and happy Festivus, Merry Christmas, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.